All right, for all you guys joining us here at home, welcome back to RPG Limit Break. It's Wednesday the 17th. I am Drifting Skies, and we are here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You can head to NAMI.org in order to understand how they are striving to raise awareness of the difficulties that those suffer from mental illness face. We are about ready to start Cthulhu Saves the World by Gerrick 1. We're just experiencing the usual technical difficulties, and we will be hopefully starting momentarily. And just as a reminder, the prizes for the current stream we have we have the Cthulhu 3DS case, which is a prize you will be entered to win automatically with a $10 donation, and a copy of the game on Steam with a $5 donation. In addition, the grand prize of the Nintendo Switch with Zelda Breath of the Wild for a minimum $25 donation is ongoing throughout the entire stream.
Alright, Gerrick, one thing, I will have to introduce this game by its full name. If you can remember all of it. I have it up on my phone, so... Are you cheating? Huh? Are you cheating? You think I can remember them? Cthulhu Saves the World Super Hyper Enhanced Championship at Diamond Boss Age Best HD Edition. Can I have my phone back? You messed it up. You got it wrong. It's Cthulhu Saves the World Super Hyper Enhanced Championship Edition Alpha Diamond DX Plus Alpha FES HD Premium Enhanced Game of the Year Collector's Edition without avatars. What is that, like without a viewer?
Mics aren't live on stream yet because we were wanting to do game audio first.
Alright, okay, I think, are you using the Windows mode or are you going full screen?
All of these, thank you, sir. I think we're good. Are you playing Stage? You know, I remember the, I don't know how much it was for this game, but the Breath of Death 7 budget was $100.
Sounds about right.
And they made like 50 grand on it in a year.
That's a pretty good return.
It is.
Yeah.
It
That is
actually
a very nice return on investment.
I actually read the dev notes.
Oh, we're live on stream? Oh. This is just playful banter before the mess starts.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun.
So time is going to start here in just a second, whenever you guys are ready.
Let's go ahead and give a roll call this time before we
Yeah.
start.
You guys...
Who do we want to start with?
I guess we'll start on this side of the catch, right? So I'm TurboDog702.
Oh, the super long name for the game? We'll go over it again in just a second.
All right.
I'll make Ghost King read it out before we get started.
All right, I'm Reinhold.
I'm Ghost King. I also do run this game as a matter of
Run the game. Run the game, right. Right, okay. Whatever, dude.
And then there's this guy.
Whatever. There are different levels of running the game. No.
So what you're saying is you're on another level
Exactly.
compared to Ghost King.
I'm like up here, and he's like.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't mean
Shots
that.
have
I
been
love you.
fired.
I love you. Come here. No, come
Impromptu
here.
race.
See? Yeah, there it is. He's my buddy. He's my
Gauntlet
All right.
thrown down.
All right, let's
Okay.
go.
Sorry. We need to get started. We're
You're,
all right.
You're forgiven.
I'm Gerrick 1. I'm running the game. We're gonna get started here in just a second. So, whenever you guys are ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So this is Cthulhu Saves the World.
Also known as Cthulhu Saves the World Super Hyper Enhanced Championship Edition Alpha Diamond DX Plus Alpha FS HD Premium Enhanced Game of the Year Collector's Edition without avatars.
That's exactly
All
right.
right.
That is 100% it. I can confirm that that's what it is.
If you can't tell, this game is a giant RPG parody. So kind of similar in the lines of Saturday Morning RPG, which we just come after.
All right.
So the main thing with this game, you might say like, oh, this looks like, you know, a typical RPG Maker type game. This game was actually originally released on Xbox Live Indie Arcade for about $1, and it was designed using the XNA tools, which were available to indie game devs at the time. So it actually came a little bit before the mass surge of games like this on Steam. And if you ask me, it's by far one of the best games of this of this kind.
Okay. So a couple things. I picked up some 1-ups. When you die in battle, you can use a 1-up to heal yourself. Those were safety. I got 3 of them right out of the chest at the start of the game. You notice that text is going incredibly fast. It's because you're able to mash with 2 buttons. I mash with the key on the controller that confirms and moves forward, and the key on the keyboard. I have it bound to a key on my controller, or a button on my controller, which allows me to mash really, really fast. We're coming up on the first boss fight here. Does someone else want to explain? Because I need focus.
Sure thing. So this first fight here is going to be the 3 heroes. We'll get into the story a bit here, but yeah, the menus in this game are extremely fast, and once you get used to them, they're just incredibly optimized. The main mechanic we're exploiting here is Insanity, which sets enemies to have lower defense, but they also do more damage.
Take 100% more damage and deal 50% more damage.
Yeah, so kind of what the story is these 3 heroes sealed away the Dark Overlord Cthulhu's power.
With a crystal.
With
It's
a crystal.
totally not ripped off of anything.
Totally not ripped of anything. So he winds up on this beach and is trying to find out how to get his power back, but defeating the 3 heroes doesn't do that. So he goes on a grand quest to figure out how to do that. And the narrator tells him that to do that, he has to save the world. So he picks up this sort of helpless maiden here at the at the beach. Named
She is
Umi,
completely helpless, by the way.
and also one of our main mob killers in the first dungeon. By the way, there's actually no encounters on the screen.
Yeah, you can't get a battle there. There's not enough. The encounter rate in this game is based upon a step counter. It's usually between like 25 and 50 to 75.
It's actually, if you look in the game files, it is programmed to not have any steps.
It's not.
Fights
Never,
don't have any steps to take.
Yeah, I've never gotten an encounter in there, so I just assumed that it was because there's not enough steps or there are no battles in there.
So the big part of RNG in this run in the start is what enemies have.
Early Flame Strike.
Yeah, early Flame Strike. What enemies appear in the mobs, so you'll know whether do I just use Flood and kill all of them instantly? Which ones do I attack so that I can use Flood to kill them instantly? It's about minimizing the number of inputs and the number of turns you take.
This is the second boss. If somebody wants to explain this Arterra real quick.
Reinhold?
I don't
You
know.
spam Insane Strike and Blind Strike. That's pretty much this
Effectively.
boss in a nutshell.
Yeah, and this boss can actually heal himself from insanity, which is why every now and then, well, when his mouth is open, he's insane. Where it's closed, it's not. So there, he kept bringing himself out of insanity. So he had to go a few extra hits in order to make sure his death blow could actually kill him. So that fight took probably about a turn longer than it should have.
It took 3 turns longer than it should have, actually.
So we entered that town there to set up a warp point because we're going to get the ability to warp
Exactly,
after this dungeon.
Yeah, so there are warp points where you can warp to different towns in the game. Again, the game is really fast, and it's hard to explain everything. But essentially what happens is, what it boils down to is, I'm killing mobs, random encounters as quickly as possible until I get the escape mechanic here in a little while, and then I'll be utilizing that as efficiently as possible. Umi has 2 forms of escape. One of them is 60% chance, one of them is 100% chance. The 100% chance costs 25 MP, and as you can see, her MP pool is not exactly the best right now. Every time you win a battle, you go to full HP. However, you only get a certain amount of MP back. We play on easy mode, which decreases the amount of HP for bosses and enemies, but it also restores 9 MP if you win the battle in 1 turn, which is important. 7 on second turn, 5 on the third turn, 3 on the fourth turn. So what I have to do is I have to move as efficiently as possible to decrease my number of encounters, because again, it's based on steps. And then secondly is to kill enemies as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we haven't really been able to find out if there's like a step route similar to old SNES Final Fantasy games, but we do know that it's programmed to be random between a certain number of steps depending on the dungeon. Some it can be as low as every 30 to 50, some it's as high as like 100 to 200.
Ryle, yeah, it's 100 to 200.
And it varies from dungeon to dungeon. The other thing you'll notice is... Okay, you're grabbing the steel sword.
Yeah, it saves 5 seconds.
Okay, so the other thing you'll notice is after every time he levels up, there are 2 options you get, an option A and an option B. What Gerrick wants to do is optimize every level up so that he spends as little time as possible on each level up, and he has, for the most part, memorized, but a few of them you check both just because some of the levels can be absolutely crucial. Level 8 on Umi is the single most important level up in the game, and he got that one correctly. Because thankfully it's A, so you just mash through it. So option A and option B, those will give you all sorts of things from stats, new abilities, and you really want to min-max so that you give the characters the stats they need. Specifically, Cthulhu needs strength the most. He's not our main damage dealer, and in fact, for most of the game, and in fact, he is never number 1 at anything, but he is still extremely useful, and you can't remove him from the party, so... Because this is his adventure of saving the world.
So that's my first. That's the first instance of escape. I wanted to have 50 MP on my trek back towards Sharp, who's the next boss. And if somebody wants to just go ahead and explain that now, it'd probably be a good idea since it's going to go really fast.
Yeah, so Sharp, he can do a lot of damage. It's not uncommon for you to die to him. Actually, one of my PBs for a long time actually had a death on him, and it was still faster than my previous PB because everything before it went super well. So you want to hit him with Flame Strike and Blind Strike. But first hitting with Insanity, which is a risk because, as you see, it's basically random whether or not he focuses one character or the other. And if he focuses Cthulhu, you're kind of screwed because...
Yeah, the Steel Sword is a route change we made this week.
Yeah.
The Steel Sword makes that fight faster and much safer. Normally, Sharp will kill one character, or he can kill one character, and he tends to focus one down if he does that.
Yeah, it basically becomes luck. So here, you can get 2 to 3 encounters on the trip to the next town. Usually you get 3, but whenever you get 2, it's just really lucky. And really
Sharp-
Fantastic walk cycle for Sharp, by the way.
Yeah, it is. So a couple things about this game that are really great. First off, the music is fantastic. The gameplay...
For a budget title, this game's music is amazing.
Yeah, the music in this game is great. The gameplay is pretty simple, but also rewarding and fun. And the walk cycle for Sharp. Sharp is a special sword. We went to that dungeon to get more hero points, so Cthulhu can become a hero and reclaim his dark powers. And Sharp is a similar to like the 7-star dragon sword in Suikoden, the Suikoden series.
I always like to think of him similar to Exor in Super Mario RPG.
Sure, yeah, you can do it that way.
I mean,
too.
there's a lot
any
of
any living
yeah.
sword,
Yeah.
you know, Excalibur, whatever. And he refuses to be wielded by Cthulhu because he knows he's evil, but he does help him on his quest to become a true hero, hoping to change him for the better. Sharp is also a jerk face, so he has some comments in this game where he's like, "Oh, you're dumb" and stuff like that. So it's very cool.
About to get our 4th party member here, October. She's mostly our she's our team mage, basically.
Yeah, she's also incredibly useful because now we have a unite attack called Dark Spiral that will kill most of the mobs in this dungeon in one hit, except for fat zombies and zombie cops. And it will go before most of the enemies, which is going to help me maximize my my MP because I'm going to be getting it back in 9 in 1 turn. And it's going to allow me to escape from some battles, making it fast through here.
So Umi is a very, very important party member due to the escape mechanic. But where is our damage coming from as far as the rest of the run, or like how does it shape up as the run progresses?
So mostly, Sharp is our main damage dealer because the main mechanic of this game, which is the combo meter. So every time you do a hit, many attacks have different number of hit values. Like they'll raise the combo by 1, 2, 3, some as high as 5. And what those do is it goes into this combo thing on the top right. Certain things have a combo clearing effect.
Combo finisher.
Combo finisher.
Yeah.
And the biggest one is Death Blow, which the power of Death Blow increases based on combo, but it drains your combo. So most boss fights are, you want to get your combo up to a certain amount and then use Death Blow to finish the bosses as quickly as possible and efficiently.
Right, and both Cthulhu and Sharp have death blows, but you're going to use Sharp's death blow because it has a higher multiplier on it.
Yeah.
It's also Sharp is just generally a slightly stronger character.
Yeah.
And yeah, as was mentioned, the menus go by blazingly fast in this game, which is a little bit hard to follow, but I mean, that's why we have a great commentary team here to try and pick up as much as we can for you guys. As was mentioned with the level ups, very important that he picks certain ones at certain levels, so you might see him like slightly hesitate just the tiniest bit after a boss fight when he gets a rush of levels, but in general, you can see, I mean, Gerrick's got this down. I mean, every single button tap is very premeditated, and he knows exactly where everything is at any given time.
Yeah, so Dark Blast you mainly use on October. It's not her biggest combo getter, but it does the most damage, and it also can inflict insanity too, which is nice.
I went 1 turn long.
Okay. That was an impressive fight.
But yeah, this is one of the places where he's going to slow down just a little bit, make sure he gets the right level ups, because you do get a bunch of them right there, and several of them are B.
Yeah, some of them are routed out. Like, he picked up Ice Strike. He doesn't use that until a boss much later in the run that's a dragon that's weak to ice.
And you can get away with using Wind Strike, but it's about 2 turns slower.
So one of the kind of interesting things, the developers have a commentary mode for this game, which you can get a little bit of insight. Some of the things that they mention are, you'll notice we haven't actually seen the heroes ever since we killed them at the beginning of the game. They don't come again until much later in the game, and this was because originally the lead designer of this game, because this is a predominantly 2-man team of Robert Boyd and Bill Sternberg, who design games for Zavoid Games. they Robert Boyd's design philosophy was he was planning on having them be a big part of the story to the game, like a main antagonist, but he kind of forgot they were there until later in the game. He's like, that's right.
That is literally what the commentary piece says. He literally says, I forgot we even had them in the game.
So they just put them there, and it's a pretty funny joke when we get to them. We'll get to that later.
So if somebody wants to explain why I'm taking battles here, even though Umi has MP, that'd be great.
He wants to get to level 14 so that Umi can pick up Sting Strike, which is a skill that can inflict poison. The next boss of this game is notorious for being really difficult to casual players, and it gives you some insight into Zeboyd Games' game philosophy, which is fairly... they want things that the player can actually use. So why would you have poison in a game if you never want to use it? Well, in this case, poison works on bosses.
Well, she's actually not the reason I need the Sting Strike. I'm not actually going to Sting Strike her. Ryan, if you want to explain.
I'm just going to Sting Strike the Shadow Wolves, or whatever they're called, that she has with her. Yeah, because the damage that's done by poison bypasses a barrier that she casts on the very first round that reduces their damage by, like, well, reduces their damage to 5 or 10%, I'm not entirely sure. But that way he can actually get rid of those 2 wolves within the first 3 rounds, and he doesn't have to worry about their damage, which allows him to have a little bit more safety in the fight, because it is extremely dangerous. You will probably see a couple of people here die here, and some potion use.
If you look this boss up on Google, there's usually going to be like 3 GameFAQs threads saying, this boss is impossible, how do I beat it? And every suggestion is use poison to kill the wolves, because, like... Basically, this fight teaches you can't brute force this fight. You have to use you have to use mechanics like poison in order to do this. And thankfully, Sting Strike, she has 2 level up options there: Sting Strike and then Plague. They do about the same thing, but Sting Strike does damage as well, so it's better.
Sting Strike also has a 100% chance to apply poison, and Plague only has a 50% chance.
Yeah, and I think it applies to every enemy. That was, see, that fight used to be a big run ender in this game.
Yeah, that fight is terrifying. The reason is because every turn in this game, bosses get 10% additional damage in addition to their already increased damage from Insanity. So what happens is, as the fight progresses, at about turn 5, she'll just start one-shotting people. So it becomes really dangerous. I did use almost all of my potions in that fight, unfortunately, but that's not a big deal because I have a backup strat for her later.
So interestingly enough, the earliest form of the rat of this game, which was ratted by 2 runners by the name of Kodem, W3Man, and Hanapool, they didn't actually do equipment, and the run was a lot less safe, but it actually got pretty optimized for what it was. And then Gerrick came along. I learned the game through the 12-hour challenge, just kind of didn't think much of the route. And then Gerrick came along and just said, hey, let's grab some equipment. And I'm just like, oh, man, that changes a lot of things. This piece of equipment here is not as obvious why you would pick it up.
But it is extremely important.
It is extremely important. So what that does is it grants Umi 80 agility, which puts her speed ahead of everyone in the queue. So basically, she will always be able to escape at the beginning of the fight, so you don't have to sit through as many animations, and it saves possibly upwards of a second per fight of just time that it takes for things to happen in fights, which normally happen really quickly, but it makes it even quicker. That's how tight we've gotten this game down to.
Yeah, we'll actually pick up another piece of equipment for her later. The swim dress, and that's for the exact same reason. You just need that additional agility. Allows her to go faster than some very difficult enemies later.
Here's a minor optimization where I teleport back to Providence instead of walking back through the dungeon.
Wow.
It's much faster. It saves roughly 10 seconds than what the old route was, which was to just backtrack. The reason for that is because now I will not get any more I won't get as many encounters, which are slower than actually just walking through the overworld, and I won't have to waste as much MP, so it's a lot safer in this dungeon. This dungeon used to be kind of fickle as far as, are we going to have to fight a battle or not? You'll never have to fight a battle in here now.
So while you might not see anything particularly insane about the movement here, there's a certain purity in like just the simplicity of motion, making sure you're cutting down your steps to the very bare minimum, avoiding like earlier on when we were in kind of the forested areas and more the outdoor areas, knowing which rocks are just in the background and which ones you actually have to circumvent to get around, because you don't want to get encounters, like especially when you're taking so much mana in order to cast your escape spells with Umi.
Yeah, I had a couple of days where I meticulously went through certain dungeons to optimize a number of steps. Some of them came down to the nitty-gritty. I had one stream where I spent 2 hours trying to find steps on like about 7 different screens. I ended up finding 22 steps, which saves about 2 seconds. That is the kind of step routing we get. So this is Pause. We did get a party member named Pause, who's a cat, and he's absolutely useless, so we never use him in the run, and his level ups never matter.
Yeah, that was Pause with an S. This is Pause with a Z.
This is Evil Twin Brother. It's, you can tell because of the eye patch.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so 22. Pause is dead. This fight's over. We're good to go.
We want to set up the combo as precisely as possible.
This is the last time I actually have to worry about level ups in the run.
So that was like, I know from watching a couple of the runs that Gerrick was doing for practice for this, Pause actually gave him quite a bit of trouble in a couple of the practice runs, so that seemed to go pretty smoothly.
Yeah, the Steel Sword, Reinhold and I were debating when I was practicing about what we need to do in order to make the route even faster than what we already have. And we've talked about the Steel Sword before. I've talked to Ghost King about it as well, and we were debating whether or not going out of the way to get it would work.
Yeah,
so this
that
again,
sharp fight, yeah, it's helpful.
It helps in the sharp fight. It makes the Shogoth coming up faster, and it makes Pause safer. So what I did there is I had to stop at the end. I was out of MP, and this dungeon is anywhere between 10 and 13 battles, and I'll have just enough MP to get through it with escapes.
The other thing was we at the beginning of the dungeon we picked up an old man wizard. He is going to be our predominant healer. So Umi is entirely in the party for escapes. We switch him in. His name is, we don't really know how to pronounce it. Gerrick pronounces it Dasser. I pronounce it Daker. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and I'm Dakra, so
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
it's old man heal bot.
Yeah.
Old Man River.
It's
All
like
right,
when
let's go.
Santa Claus wanted to kill you. That's actually there's another mode of this game called Cthulhu's Angels, where you play as the female characters of the game and a couple of additional characters, and Dasser or Dacry or however you want to say his name is actually a boss, and every boss has like a little subtitle, and his is the time Santa Claus wanted to kill you. So
Kind of a fun little fact. So you read the dev comments about Sharp. His animation cycle, which we addressed a little bit earlier, originally they wanted to have him floating, but when they were trying to fix it, they noticed the sliding animation was a lot funnier, so they just left it that way.
So if we had if you had any
Donations
comments or
are
donations or anything
fine
like
right
that
now.
to kind of machine gun out, we got a couple
We've been
minutes.
talking a lot.
Yeah.
Does not look like we have any donations come in, but I will say that we've got a couple of incentives coming up that are going to be closing pretty soon. We've got main character name on Baldur's Gate 2, which is going to be closing here at the end of this run. Purple Ladyface has a pretty commanding $1,850 lead over
Wow.
you guys can beat
Next.
it. I believe in you.
the next higher ranked option. But if somebody with deep or multiple people with deep pockets want to contribute and get somebody else
Where's that
some other
anonymous?
option.
Where's that anonymous guy at? He seems to have the infinite
True, anonymous.
pockets.
True, Anonymous does have seem to have pretty big pockets, so maybe he will benefit Nami once again. And we've also got names for the characters: Cliff, Fate, Maria, Nell, and Sophia in Star Ocean until the end of time, which is going to be the run immediately following Baldur's Gate 2. And then after that, we're going to have some donation incentives for Mother 1, also known as Earthbound Beginnings. So player names and name of the characters for that game are going to be coming up after Star Ocean 3.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to fight a battle in here. I had some bad luck as far as encounters were concerned. I only have 78 MP, which means I have 3 escapes left. This is a 3 to 5 battle floor. If I get to a certain point, I'll know where I'm at as far as the encounter rate. I'm going to have to get to fight a battle. It's unfortunate. It happens. There's no real way to get around it. Even if your movement's perfect, the battles in this dungeon can, like I said, they're anywhere between 10 and 13, and you just don't have enough MP yet. This is the last dungeon you have to worry about it, and from this dungeon forward, Umi will have more than enough MP to escape from every encounter we'll get. So.
I mean, it seems like you could just kind of streamline this architecture instead of making a bunch of winding paths.
Yeah, I don't know what the architect was thinking. I think he was just trying to get more and more out of the people with his contractors. He's like, look, we're going to build winding paths. It's going to look great. People are going to love it.
It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Exactly.
It is possible he could go from this screen here, because once you go to this screen, there's no encounters on this screen. Actually,
Right.
no.
You can get an encounter in here, but once I leave this room, there is a possibility that I will not get an encounter on the way to the Shogoth.
But it's pretty unlikely.
We'll see. See what happens. It all depends on my movement, which is actually kind of poopy at the second.
I like Happy Squid right there. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Happy Squid's in every game.
That's okay. That wasn't too bad. It's all right. It's no biggie. So it's close. It's always kind of tight in here. So, and I changed my party. This is the first time we don't use Umi. We use Daiquiri for his healing, as I said earlier, and we're gonna do the Shogoth. This fight's a throwaway fight, to be honest. He's gonna just get blown out.
Yeah, the main important thing that Daiquiri can do is he has a skill called Regen All, which makes it so your party members heal after every turn. This is really good because it's consistent healing. It doesn't take additional turns after the first one, and it doesn't blow your combo. Daiquiri also has a bunch of healing abilities that do combo break, so you do have to be careful, and that was a dang impressive fight.
Those level ups don't matter. The level up A is totally fine.
You got to be very careful, though. As soon as you're done with the boss fight, you want to switch Umi back into the party. Otherwise, you will find yourself unable to escape from an encounter, and you'll force yourself to do an encounter.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. These encounters at this point in the game expects you to be much higher level than I am. The reason for that is because there's a mechanic in this game called Fight where you can actually force an encounter. I'm going to hit this town to reset my encounter rate, just real quick notice. But the game kind of expects you to fight. You have a certain number of battles you can fight in each dungeon, in each area, and the game is kind of designed in a thought process of you're going to grind a little bit here and there to level up. I don't, so...
We'll have to be careful in this dungeon and a little bit in the final dungeon. There is one enemy... I think there's 2 enemies in this dungeon, but...
Not anymore because of the swim dress.
Oh, yeah, that's... Okay.
Yeah. The swim dress is specifically for this dungeon, for the pterodactyls.
Yeah, so there are these enemies that are called... I don't know if they're pterodactyls or pterodons.
Something like that, yeah.
And they can outspeed Umi, and they're one of the few enemies in the game at this point that can. And if they do, there is a very small chance they can kill Umi. I've only ever had it happen in one run that I've ever done, and I had to instantly wipe and use a 1-up. And that basically killed my run because that's how tight we were at.
Yeah, that's pretty much what has to happen if they're faster than you.
Yeah, if they're faster than you, and Umi has an ability called Hide, which reduces the chance she's going to get attacked. But if you get a 5 encounter with the pterodons, which I'm sure we'll see one, we always see one at least.
Yeah, let's say I'd say her speed was. Let's say there was a 12. Okay, they cut the chance that they would hit you in half. Assuming there's a 25% chance, that would mean that like I think 4 of them have to hit you to kill her.
That is correct.
That would be like a 1 in 8 chance 4 times.
Yeah, and the thing is that if they do kill her, you cannot possibly kill them with your levels at this stage of the game. They have 780 HP apiece. It would take, and they are much faster than you. So what they will do is they'll kill Umi, and then they will kill one character, and then you don't have enough damage to kill her because we don't have any gear, we don't have any equipment, we don't have levels, so we don't actually have some of the more powerful abilities you're supposed to have at this stage of the game.
So you would say that at this point of the game, that there's a very big power trough kind of for the random encounters that you're facing.
That's right. Yeah, the random encounters get a lot harder. First off, if you're playing casually, and they give you a lot more experience. This is where you're kind of trying to catch up. We're pretty underleveled for Ember, but through the power of Ice Strike and prayer, we make it through.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible just how optimized all this is, because when you look at, say, a 3D Final Fantasy, it's very easy to see how a single encounter, you're like, wow, that's like 30 seconds to, load the battle, get the escape animation, everything else. And these ones are quite quick, but the fact that even, 1, 2 encounters can really make or break a certain segment, like, really shows you just how tight this game is at this point.
My movement's not very good today, unfortunately.
It did help that mashing is really simple with this game. We figured it was impossible to enforce properly, but after I found the trick in Saturday Morning RPG that, you can mash on both the keyboard and the controller. What if I try this for Cthulhu? And it worked. And so we also figured it's probably a little bit simpler to just bind that to your controller as well. You don't do it in Saturday Morning RPG because you also have to control the keyboard for movement. But since this game you're just using a controller to control it, we figured you can bind a key to the L1 button and just mash with your thumb and your index finger, and it makes text go extremely fast.
All right, this is the last really serious fight in the run.
Yeah, so this is why we picked up Ice Strike a bit earlier. It doesn't build as much combo, but it does a lot of damage to this boss in particular.
This is our demon dragon boss.
Pierce.
Soon to be your steed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Riding a dragon, shooting fireballs at people, it's great. All right, Cthulhu died. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Thankfully, if he dies, he still gets full EXP.
Yeah.
I guess that is something to mention. At the end of a battle, when you have a dead party member, it does come back to life, and it does give full experience to everyone in the party. It's not like, say, a Phantasy Star or certain Final Fantasies where it funnels experience into a single character.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's split evenly amongst all your party members. That includes party members that aren't currently in the battle.
These level ups don't matter either.
Yeah, so there's a lot of funny stuff in this game. It's a little bit less overt than Breath of Death, which is sort of the spiritual.
Normally we don't come here. I'm coming here to grab some potions
Yeah,
for
this is
safety.
just safety
Yeah,
strap
so
right here.
spiritual predecessor of this game is Breath of Death 7, which it's not actually the 7th game. The developers like to do a lot of humor in their games.
MLG, we did it.
We did it. So another title you may be a little bit more familiar with, they recently came out with it. It's called Cosmic Star Heroine, which is a lot of influence from Chrono Trigger and Phantasy Star, which is, you say that with indie games, but it's actually a fantastic game, and I
It's
read
really
it
good.
and had
It
a lot
has
of
a
fun with
ton of good music in it as well.
it. Yeah, that's saying the least.
So, Gerrick, I know that you're kind of a writer buff, especially when it comes to good old Lovecraft.
That's
you want to
true.
kind of explain kind of the background for this particular town you're in?
Innsmouth is we go to Innsmouth because Cthulhu still is not a hero after defeating Ember, and we've come here to take down Dagon. This town in Innsmouth, it was a gold refinery because essentially what happened is one of the progenitors of the town in the Cthulhu mythos or the Lovecraftian mythos, however you want to say it, he kind of sold his, I don't want to say sold his soul, he sold his people essentially to the Deep Ones who give him gold in exchange for bodies to breed with. It's really weird, but it's also Shadow of Innsmouth is about 35 pages and it's kind of dry. I wouldn't actually recommend it, but if you want to read it, I would not start there anyway. I would just start with Call of Cthulhu because I think that's his ultimate work. Even though some people argue with me about At the Mountains of Madness, and I punch him in the face because I don't have any respect for that.
This is very Magitech Factory, by the way.
It is. As we joked earlier, Dagon had gone into the box making business, and we are here to stop him from making his evil boxes.
I mean, all that seems to be all around this factory is boxes.
Exactly. There's nothing else. The conveyor belts don't move anything. They just make
Right,
boxes.
they move you around pretty effectively. I
Yeah,
suppose.
Yeah, that's
the
better.
movement in here is pretty tight. I found some minor optimizations that saved about 30 seconds overall in this little section. And that's how I was able to get down to a 36.
So I'm going to cut in here for just a moment.
You would.
Yes, I would. I would cut in here because I do have a donation from Gerald who donated $25 saying, love this run.
My
and
boy
channel
Gerald.
and channel so much. I look forward to it every year. Been watching since it started. And this run, this donation is split between Final Fantasy XII, fighting the first demon wall, and don't save Pipas in Dragon Quest V.
I have no idea what that means.
There's a character you can save or just kind of ignore in that game.
We should ignore him. Let's ignore him instead. Which one's faster? Which one's faster?
Ignore, but it is also your dad.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh.
Save the frames.
Save the frames.
Save
Kill
the
your
dad.
dad. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, what? Wait. Does he die or is he does he just get hurt?
Yes.
Like-
it's
Okay, yeah,
it's
let's just let him go, man.
It's
He's
weird.
not-
In the,
he's
it's
lived
weird
his
in the
life.
context of that run in
it's
particular.
fine.
Let's just say that.
He's lived his life. He's had some good times and some bad times. It's time to move on, man.
So
I got things to do. I don't have time to save my dad. All right.
so wow.
I'm just saying, like, if you had to choose between time and saving your dad, what would you do?
Let's save my dad.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
save my
You
dad.
guys are good people. You're better than me.
By
By the way, I'm literally just walking through this dungeon. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. We've literally been talking, I think, for 29 minutes straight.
Well,
So-
I mean, Mr. Hostman, if you wanted to talk about kind of why we're gathered here in Salt Lake City.
No more donations at the moment, but I just want to say that RPG Limit Break 2017 supports the National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. They advocate and educate, they lead, and most importantly, listen. If you need to reach out, please head to NAMI.org or use the hashtag StigmaFree on Twitter or tweet directly to NAMI with @NAMICommunicate.
So I'm about to fight Dagon, and Dagon has 2 minions with him. And we're going to use Ember in this fight, and I did that movement wrong, but that's okay. I'm going to use Ember in this fight.
yesterday.
I know. I'm going to use Ember in this fight because she is far stronger than October.
Which,
And-
by the way, Ember is a girl.
Yeah, Ember is a lady. The
Lady
Dagon has a really bad habit of resummoning one of his ads when they die, so the fastest way to deal with this fight is to hope he just doesn't resummon his ads.
We used to only use Ember for this fight and carry on with October because October is really good for combo, but it turns out raw damage is a little bit better than adding combo to Death Blow. So we keep Ember in the party because her smash ability does really good damage, but more importantly, it takes very
Dagon.
little menu work to actually do.
Look at that mashing.
Yeah.
He's going crazy
He's
on that.
blowing up on it.
So yeah, there are.
Well, I'm
so,
on world record pace, so
oh man. So the
You weren't supposed to look at that.
I've been looking at it the whole run.
Literally the whole run.
Literally, I've just been doing this.
Just playing off of
I'm
the
just
screen.
checking my movement every now and then.
So,
I just wanted to say that we're it's Cthulhu time.
It is Cthulhu time. He does regain his powers.
Careful. Yeah, so that fight is really annoying because you can end up accidentally killing them and wasting the time for getting the results. And they don't give you enough. They look like metal slimes. They kind of are.
They
but
give you
don't
a
get-
ton of gold.
They give you a ton of gold, but they're not. You don't need gold in this run after you get the pure sword. So we're gonna pick up Cthulhu's sword and become a true hero.
Exactly. This weapon saves time, even though it's kind of out of the way. It saves a lot of time.
So actually, whenever you defeated Dagon, you became a true hero,
And
and
then we got our evil dark
yeah,
powers
you
back.
get your evil powers back.
but we've
and
changed. We've
But
changed.
no,
everybody.
no. Actually, what initially happens
Is you take over the world.
You take over the world because why wouldn't you? You're Cthulhu.
and then the narrator's like,
That ending
that's
sucks.
not what you want to see.
That
so.
ending sucks. Let's do something. Let's do something more fun. And he's
Look,
like,
I choose to believe that Cthulhu, of his own free will, decided that he was no longer a bad person
Yeah,
and was gonna.
about that.
Hey, an evil squid monster can change its stripes too. Okay,
Emergent lure happening here.
merchant lore.
Yeah, this game has a lot. In what all it is, this game is a very loving parody of RPGs, and it's got a lot of loving parodiness of Lovecraftian works, with a lot of nods and references here and there, while simultaneously, I think Gerrick, you put it that this would be a terrible Cthulhu game, but it is a fun game overall.
Yeah, it's if you're like looking for a Cthulhu game, that's kind of in the vein of Lovecraft or whatever, it's not for you. But if you go into it with the mindset that it is just cheesy, as I did, and that it's just supposed to be fun, which that's what games are supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just glad you-
Presumably.
Well, no, I mean you're crazy. I mean,
But I mean,
who
then
plays
you
games
start-
for fun?
I mean,
We don't do
presumably it is, but then you start speedrunning and
Oh yeah,
it's all downhill from
that's
there.
totally a thing, by the way now. But
I understand the hardest fight in this game is coming up.
the
Does
hardest
anyone-
battle in the whole game
yeah.
is.
Does anybody
coming
want to
up.
talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Super
so,
hard
So the three heroes decide to come back, and they're more like the developer remembered, oh, they're in the game, we should do something with them. And so we're about to go and fight them in a rematch. So your question is, okay, how have they improved? How much harder is this fight going to be? Because that first time, although
don't spoil it.
they did give us a bit of trouble. So how's this fight going to go, Gerrick?
I mean, it would just make sense.
It is.
mean,
I'm
they
going to
did-
struggle. I will probably use all my potions.
I mean, they did
I'll
seal his
probably die
power
for
in
it.
a
Yeah, he did
crystal before, right?
Exactly. I mean, all I got to do is whip that thing out, and the fight's over. So
He did pick up a few extra potions. I assume it's for this fight.
it's for this fight specifically.
Okay, because
it
this
is-
one always
I mean,
is giving me trouble.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's crazy. It scares me. I mean, it makes me really nervous.
Make sure you
It's
hit the
one.
save point.
Yeah, I mean, hit
that
the
MP
save
is
point.
important.
All right.
Gotta get that MP. All right.
Here
All right, here we
go.
go. Here we go. Ready?
Hardest fight in the game.
Oh, we lied! We lied to you guys. It was really easy. Yeah.
It was a
all right,
ruse.
we did
It was a
it.
clever
All right.
ruse.
Yeah. It was a joke.
Yeah, their stats have not changed.
Yeah, they're the
at
exact
all
same
from the very
characters.
beginning of the game.
You get the same amount of experience and gold from them too. The reason for that is like Ghost King said, he forgot they were in the game for forever until he got close to the end of development. And then there's another narration point that's right by those stairs if you read it, and he talks about how he thinks it's dumb that in every RPG ever, somehow someone you fought at the beginning of the game is now super powerful. And he's like, what did they do? Go and grind? Or what did they do this whole game to become so powerful? And he was just like, so we put him back in and we just let you beat him up again and move on with your day.
Listen, okay, it's clearly a memory issue, right? Because if you had to add 3 more models and 3 more sets of stats, I mean, I'm not sure any hard drive would be able to hold that much information.
I know, it's
This
going to
game
crash
is,
your
what,
PC.
50 megabytes?
Yeah, it's not. It
don't even
takes
think
about
it's
3
that
seconds
much.
to download. But each time you beat them, they talk about how they're not dead. They're just beat up. They're just like over on the side and beat up. So.
We're coming up here fairly close to the end.
Yeah.
This is actually a really good run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
It's
getting
gonna be
close
like
to
a
the
high
next boss,
36
which
or
is
37.
Cthulhu, which is a golem version of Cthulhu.
We have one more little area to walk through. So if you have a donation to read or something like that, did the bromides incentive got met, right?
Yes, it did.
Yes,
Got that a while ago.
bromides were met, and I do have one donation from Vanguard who donated $2 saying, enjoying the runs as a person that suffers with mental illness. I think this is a highly worthy cause, and that went to fighting the first demon wall in Final Fantasy XII.
Oh, the demon wall.
You know, we've even been getting a lot of support from when we go out and stuff. People are asking about our badges, and they seem really like supportive with it. And you know, hitting up some retro game stores. We even had a couple guys actually bring it up on kind of the monitors around the store to watch around. So we do thank that for spreading the word around even locally, or even on social media. You know, if you guys want to tweet us out.
And it looks like we have one more donation from a young Jack Daddy who donated $25 saying, if I was there, I'd buy the entire commentary team a beer. I just finished Cosmic Star Heroine and look forward to that being run in the future. Donation to Runner's Choice, please. Hi.
I don't know yet. I'll have to think about it.
I routed it and started running it. Currently, the thing is the game got patched a bunch, and so some of the tricks no longer work. So we're kind of working that out.
I'm going to be extremely disappointed if that donation doesn't go to the Sugoi Mizugi.
All right, goes to the Sugoi Mizugi.
Oh, man.
All right, I will put that donation to...
I deathblowed a little bit early, but it's okay.
Yeah, you did.
He's dead.
All right.
All right, final boss test.
Actual final boss.
Yeah, final boss. Surprise, there's another final boss.
Well, this is Azathoth, who used to be the run killer because it basically became a crapshoot because of the way bosses get more damage. But since all the upgrades to weapons, this fight has become much more consistent.
It can still occasionally kill you, but it's pretty rare now.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
We'll see
about
what
it.
happens.
So we're just going to beat the primal chaos here
Yeah, we're literally going to beat him to death.
with swords.
Yes.
Exactly.
So all the attacks we've picked up so far have like some insane combo, like sword stance, like adds to your combo
Need
ridiculously
to
fast.
revive him and
Yeah,
fight
Sword
him.
Sense and Berserk, I believe.
Time is coming up.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned. Oh, well, we'll finish the run.
Oh, please. Just go. Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, time.
You beat my PB by 2 minutes.
Oh, my bad, dog. That
So-
is Cthulhu Saves the World. I know that last part was pretty fast. The ending.
Hey, you
Cthulhu-
gotta go to the credits warp, dude.
Oh yeah. So credit warps percent. This is a very highly technical and difficult percent. I want everyone to understand that it is incredibly hard.
It's frame perfect.
It's literally frame perfect.
pixel perfect.
So Ghost King has the world record at 0.1 seconds.
It's
literally
0.099.
that. That's it. There it is. Woo! Credits warp! We did it. All
Yeah.
right. That's it.
I got it at 0.09 or 0.99 seconds, and I'm like, I'm done.
So I'm going to show the bromides off now because that was met, but there is one bestiary I want to show off just really quickly. This is Dark Dragon, and he has never been resurrected until later today or tomorrow. No, it's Friday. What day is it again? Is it
Friday morning.
Tune in
And
for
it's
Shining Force.
Turn in for Shining
Force
Force.
one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. So the bromides. I think there's 8 of them or 9. They're very simple, just like pictures of people. Here's Cthulhu flexing in the mirror. That's both. Not only is that an amazing look at those muscles, but look at that visage. Who would want
yeah.
to take him home to mom?
Get your RPG level ups in
Exactly,
chat.
there you go.
I mean, this is a bit risque when
It
it comes
is.
to RPG Limit
It's
Break.
weird because he's wearing like the kilt thing. I don't know. All right. So there's Umi. She's just hanging out down by the beach. There's Sharp. He looks very.
I mean, Sharp doesn't even have any clothes
Is
on.
that is
This
that the evilest sword you've ever seen in your life?
That is
Or is it
Whoa,
just
whoa,
is it
whoa,
like- is it
whoa.
like-
Hey,
This is,
hey.
this is getting a little too hot for Twitch.
There's October reading her book. There's isn't that adorable?
that
That's
is-
adorable.
yeah,
Whoa, whoa,
Right?
we-
That's a,
We got to
It's a-
pause for pause,
it's
everybody.
adorable. And then there's Daiquiri, or how to say it, just chilling.
Yeah, well, okay,
Having
now
a
I see
cool
why you
beverage.
call him Daiquiri. He's
Yeah.
sitting there having a daiquiri.
He's having a daiquiri. Yeah, there you go. There's Ember. She's asleep. She's a dragon. She will tear your face off. She's a dragon, right? There's Alona. Alona is one of the heroes. She's a character in the Cthulhu's Angels. Her name is much longer than that, but there's a joke about why it won't fit and other stuff. So there's Dark Umi, who's also a character in Cthulhu's Angels. She's awful in Cthulhu's Angels, by the way. It's terrible. And then Molly, who's also a character in Cthulhu's Angels, and Dem, who's the main character in Dragon Quest, Dragon
on.
Quest of Death.
No,
He's
you're,
literally
you're
Dem
correct.
Breath
It
of Death
is.
is up.
He is also a super boss in this game.
And,
this developer loves doing call outs to their older games.
I did try to figure out if I could fight him this week and add it as an incentive, but it is impossible. He kills me on turn 4, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I think you're correct. I think that is the Dragon Quest main character, by the way.
It looks like it, doesn't it? Is
Yeah,
that right?
he does. The funny
Is that
thing
right?
is,
it looks like he's got
in
the
the-
shoulder pad and everything.
in the game, he doesn't actually speak, but like all of his thoughts are conveyed in his head. So you just see him like wondering about the insanity of the game, but you can't actually speak. And then this is Sarah, who's
And
kind
then
of
Sarah, who's
their
the-
logo
Yeah.
and
I
kind
believe
of a ghost.
Yeah, she's also a super boss in this game, but she's far easier than Dem is. But I was also like max level when I fought her, level 20 when I fought him.
All
so.
right.
So those are the bromides. That's what you guys donated
Yeah,
for.
so I was gonna finish one last thing. The one thing with This is one little piece of commentary because this game is so fast. With potions, the reason he grabs so many is potions they don't break your combo. Every revive thing in this game breaks your combo other than potions. So
Yeah.
that helped a lot.
And they fully heal you, so very useful. So that's
There's
it.
not enough time to talk about everything in
There
this
is
game.
not.
We've put a ton of work in this game in the last 6 months especially.
Yeah. We did.
All right.
Closing comments, gentlemen?
I need food and I need sleep.
Yeah,
I've
need
been on this
food
couch.
badly.
I've been up here for 6 hours.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me, and good luck to the rest of the runners.
All right, so our next game is going to be Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, which will be any percent run by Koal Lazy. We're going to take a